She said it laughing. Half drunk on freedom, half tired of being pitted. The ballroom doors were shut, the music too loud, the air thick with gossip. I swear, she joked to her friends, raising her glass, I'll marry the first man who walks through those doors. They laughed. Everyone laughed. Because no one expected destiny to take jokes personally. The doors creaked open. Silence fell like a blade. He didn't rush in. He didn't smile. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in black and gold like he owned the night itself. The Duke of Ravensshire, cold, untouchable, rumored to have turned down queens, stood in the doorway, eyes scanning the room until they landed on her. Her smile froze. His brow lifted. "Did I arrive at the wrong time?" he asked calmly, "or did I just hear a proposal?" Laughter died. Whispers exploded. Her heart hammered so loudly she swore he could hear it. She should have taken it back. She should have laughed it off. But something in his gaze, steady, unreadable, made her spine straighten. "No," she said, voice shaking but clear. "You arrived exactly on time." The Duke walked toward her, every step echoing like a vow. He stopped inches away. "Then allow me to accept," he said softly. "On one condition." The room leaned in. "That you never joke about marriage again." Because from that moment on, nothing about her life, her heart, her future, or the man who chose her, would ever be a joke again. The laughter never returned. The Duke's hand was still extended when the first noblewoman fainted. Someone whispered a prayer. Someone else dropped a glass. And she stared at his gloved fingers like they might burn her if she touched them. "This is absurd," an old lord barked. "Your Grace, surely you don't mean—" "I do," the Duke interrupted, not even looking at him. His eyes never left hers. A promise spoken before witnesses is still a promise. Her friends tugged at her sleeve, panic flashing in their eyes. "Take it back," they mouthed. "Now." But the Duke leaned closer, his voice low enough only she could hear. "If you wish to run," he said quietly, "do it now. I do not chase." Something in his words stung, not a threat, but an invitation to choose. She swallowed. Her whole life, decisions had been made for her. Who to dance with. Who not to love. Who she could never be. And now, standing before the most powerful man in the room, she felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. "I'm not running," she said. The room erupted. The Duke straightened. "Then we will marry in 30 days. 30, she began, but he was already turning to the crowd. "Prepare the contracts. Summon the clergy. This union will be lawful, witnessed, and irreversible." Irreversible. That word followed her all the way to the carriage later that night. She sat alone, hands trembling in her lap, when the door opened again. The Duke stepped inside. "No guards?" she asked. "You are not my prisoner," he replied. Then, after a pause, "Yet." Her breath caught. He studied her like a chessboard. "You should know this marriage will make you a target. My enemies will test you. Break you. They will look for weakness." "And if they find it?" she asked. His eyes darkened. "Then they will learn what it costs to touch what is mine." The carriage rolled forward, sealing her fate with every turn of the wheel. Outside, the city slept. Inside, a joke had become a vow, and a dangerous man had just claimed his future bride. The castle gates closed behind her with a sound that felt final. Stone. Iron. No turning back. She expected servants. Instructions. Rules. Instead, she was led straight to the Duke's private study, warm firelight, walls lined with warm maps and ledgers, not poetry or portraits. This was a room built for strategy, not love. Sit, he said. Not unkind. Not gentle either. She did. You deserve the truth, the Duke began, removing his gloves. For the first time, she noticed the scars on his hands, old, deliberate, earned. I didn't come to the ball by accident. Her chest tightened. So you were listening. I was waiting. The words landed heavy. For weeks, he continued, my council has hunted for a bride. Not a lover. A shield. He met her eyes. Someone unconnected. Untouched by court alliances. Someone the enemy wouldn't predict. Realization crept in, cold and sharp. You chose me because I was convenient. No, he corrected calmly. I chose you because you were brave enough to joke about marriage in a room full of liars. She stood. So I'm bait. Yes, he said without flinching. Then, softer, but not disposable. Silence stretched between them until it hurt. My enemies believe I cannot love, he went on. They believe marriage would weaken me. They are wrong. He stepped closer. You are the proof. Her voice shook. And if I refuse to play your game? He stopped inches away. Then I will tear the court apart to keep you safe anyway. That was the moment she understood. This wasn't about power. This was about control and restraint. A servant burst in, pale and shaking. Your Grace, the engagement announcement has already spread. There's a threat. The Duke turned instantly lethal. From whom? The Black Council. Her name fell into the room like a curse. The Duke's jaw tightened. Then it begins sooner than expected. He looked at her, something unreadable in his eyes. From this moment on, you do not leave my side. Is that an order? She asked. No, he said quietly. It's a promise. Outside, thunder rolled over the castle. And somewhere in the shadows, enemies sharpened their knives, because the Duke had finally given them something to lose. The attack came at dawn. Not with screams or fire, but silence. She woke to the Duke's hand clamped over her mouth, his other arm already around her waist, pulling her from the bed just as a blade sliced through the pillow where her throat had been seconds before. Don't breathe, he whispered. The window shattered. Black-cloaked figures poured in like shadows come alive. One hit the floor before he could shout, the Duke's dagger flashing once, clean and final. Another lunged. She didn't scream. She moved. Instinct took over. She grabbed the fallen chair and smashed it into the attacker's knee. Bone cracked. The man howled. The Duke finished it without looking back. They were a rhythm, her chaos, his precision. When the last assassin fell, the room smelled of iron and smoke. Blood soaked the rugs meant for royalty. Her hands were shaking. The Duke turned to her slowly, searching her face. You're hurt. No, she said, breathless. But they'll come again. Yes, he agreed. Then, for the first time, his voice faltered. And next time, they'll try harder. He knelt in front of her, ignoring the blood on his coat. This is the part where most people beg to leave. She met his eyes. And this is the part where you realize you chose wrong if you wanted someone fragile. A pause. Then the Duke laughed, low, stunned, almost broken. God help them, he murmured. They've made you mine. Outside, guards finally stormed in. The sun crept through the broken window, lighting the carnage. The Duke stood and offered her his hand again, not as a duke, not as a strategist, but as a man who had nearly lost something he didn't know how to protect without destroying the world. Stand with me, he said. And I will teach you how to survive this court. She took his hand. Not as a joke. Not as a promise. But as a vow written in blood. The wedding day arrived under watchful skies. No laughter. No jokes. Just steel-lined corridors and eyes that measured every breath she took.